Haha, that looks really cute.
Oh, I love it!
Welcome to the Mike Cassidy Photography Podcast.
Thank you, big voice in the sky. My name is Mike Cassidy, and I'm a boudoir photographer from New Jersey, and this is my show. I get to talk to some of the best photographers in the world to find out how they got started, what sparks their creativity, and what hurdles they've had to overcome to get their businesses going. Along the way, we'll probably have a few laughs, but I'm here to have in-depth conversations about all kinds of things you've always wanted to know from the best out there. So stay tuned. You never know what you may learn. I do some family beach photos during the summer, which is something that started by accident, but I enjoy going out there and doing it at least for the few months in the summer. Anyway, I couldn't take doing that all year round. But here's the thing with that. I made a website just for beach photos. I put everything on there, the pricing, everything, all the information. So people looking at that website would know all the details and just really need to contact me to book a session. You know, I'm busy. Do you think that's what happens, though? No. People still contact me and ask me for pricing when it's right there. It's right there. It's right in front and center on the website. So, you know, that just takes up time doing those tasks that, well, I really don't want to be spending time on. So imagine this. Imagine if you could have an assistant. That would be cool, right? Somebody who could answer all those inquiries and questions like, what is your pricing? When it's right there on the website. When are you available? You know, so you wouldn't have to do these things and you could enjoy your lunch in the park. Even better than that, what if this assistant kind of worked for free? Well, believe it or not, you can get this. And that's what we're going to be talking about today with my guest, Henry Chen. Henry is a full-time wedding photographer with 13 years of experience who has captured hundreds of weddings in Southern California. And, you know, like, if that's not enough, these days, Henry is helping wedding pros and venues and creative entrepreneurs earn more. Did you hear that? I said earn more while saving time using chat marketing. He founded Wedding Chat Marketing, and through his program, Wedding Chat Academy, he provides training and coaching to others to get into this new marketing strategy. Want to learn how to save some time? Listen to this show today. First of all, you're just going to be jealous because Henry and I are friends now. Sorry, he's my new friend. Well, actually, you know, Henry's a pretty nice guy and he'll be anybody's friend, but, you know, that doesn't make what we have less special. Doesn't. Second of all, we're going to learn a bit about chat marketing today. Are you even aware of chat marketing? Well, you are now, you'll see how this can save you time. You'll see how you can set up bots to answer inquiries automatically coming into your website, set up appointments, etc., etc. So you don't have to do these tasks. It's really cool stuff. And Henry is going to tell us all about it today. So give it a listen. And, as always, I like hearing from you. You can connect with me online on Instagram at Mike Cassidy Podcast or via my email, mike@thephotographypodcast.show, if you feel like reaching out to me. And thanks so much, and I will see you on the next show. This podcast and my website both focus on the goal of translating the art and business of photography and making it accessible and understandable to everyone. My goal is to provide the best content in photography for you, the listener. I've assembled a great team of photography guests and experts to make this happen. What I've chosen to do is create a subscriber model for my audience. If you value what I'm doing, you can become a member and support this podcast. In exchange, you'll get benefits over and above what's available for free. It's my goal to ensure that subscribers will definitely get back more than they give. I've created a membership program that brings you far more in-depth content if you want to take your knowledge of photography to the next level. Members will receive episodes with complete, unabridged interviews with our guests. Members will also get exclusive access to listen to and participate in AMA episodes. And there's more. If you would like to learn more now, head over to thephotographypodcast.show/subscribe. Now, without further delay, here's today's episode. My guest today is Henry Chen, accomplished wedding photographer, podcast host, wedding educator, and now Henry is expanding his reach into a new direction, which is leveraging Facebook and particularly Facebook Messenger and using that as a tool to generate leads for wedding businesses, which is very interesting and something that's evolving and a new way of marketing. And so we're going to be talking about that quite a bit today. But before we get into that a little bit, don't want to go into this too much, but just briefly how you got started as a wedding photographer or in photography in general, and a quick Reader's Digest version of where you got to right now.
Gotcha. So I'll stick to only 15 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's been over 13 years. And I do want to thank you so much, Mike. We just connected not too long ago. You're so gracious to consider me have a guest on your show. And also to Sarah Blodgett. She was a recent guest. She did my wedding photography website. So shout out to her. But the elevator speech version, 13 years, almost 500 weddings, and based here in Southern California. So I specialize more in sort of multicultural, ethnic and faith weddings. Still a one-person show, but over the past, especially the last couple of years, being a father now to a 2-year-old, and so I had to change a little bit of how I run my business, and not only because of what's happening with COVID, if I may say so, but also even beforehand, just the way that brides and grooms are approaching their vendors, especially photographers. So that's where I looked into, as you said, with the chat marketing. So, but still trying to keep my business afloat, although we're not able to photograph so-called larger weddings. We still have to market our business and stay relevant, hopefully for sooner than later with weddings still being able to take place.
And how did you get involved as a photographer, though? What was really the genesis there? And when you woke up one day and said, I'm going to decide to shoot weddings, or was that the first thing you did, or what was your interest to get you started in the business?
Ooh, so going back down a little bit of memory lane, Mike. So my background is all in engineering and graduate school. So, and I also love the NBA basketball. So I started as an intern for one of the teams here. But then just out of the blue, back in 2007, one of my high school friends kind of joked like, hey, looks like you're into photography now, and one day you'll photograph my wedding. And so wedding photography, I don't know about that. Don't know really anything about it. So I looked into it, and before you know it, 2 months after the thought came into mind, so this is like July 2007, that's when I shot my first wedding through a referral. And so this is a lot of fun, very rewarding, getting to be around not only the couple, but their families and friends. Very joyous, and certainly there's challenges of it, but getting to be your own boss, if you will, and run your own business, that really got me excited to eventually leave my conventional job, and I've been doing this full time for, oh my gosh, probably about 11 to 12 years.
So it was an unexpected turn.
Absolutely.
All of a sudden you wound up, and that's interesting how that things worked like that. But obviously you've been having a good time and you've been successful at this, so I guess it's been worth it. It was worth it.
Hanging in there, yeah. There's always there's always the challenges, and everything falls on your shoulders, and we all wear multiple hats, if you will. But I always like to say it's very rewarding, despite the ups and downs, for sure. It's
a tough business. It's tough to get started, but it looks like you've grown a good business there and been successful for a while now. So congratulations on that. And today our focus wasn't too much about the wedding business. We wanted to talk about your venture, Wedding Chat Marketing, and get a little bit about what that does. And I guess the point here is that traditional marketing methods are maybe becoming a little bit stale, or maybe not getting the response as they used to, such as email marketing or so forth. So this is something new, and Facebook seems to be much better in that regard. So why don't you take it from there a little bit and say why maybe those old methods may not be working as much and this may be a little bit better.
Definitely, Mike. And I know that's a huge claim to make, where conventional, traditional ways are maybe not that it's not working, but not working as well as you said. And I do want to preface, even though sort of focusing as a wedding photographer called Wedding Chat Marketing, we can kind of drop the wedding part out of that name, and it's chat marketing for photographers, weddings, portraits, boudoirs, and even other creative entrepreneurs. So whoever might be listening to your show, I just want everyone to know this is very applicable. If you run any business, certainly a small business, and you have a presence online, which I think all of us does, then this will apply to you. And so chat marketing, in other words, is messenger marketing with automation. So that's sort of my quick definition of that. But conventionally, even now, like you mentioned with email marketing, yes, you're getting the lead through maybe Facebook ads or through organic, and you're so-called nurturing them, providing them value through automation. But we know the numbers with, and not to pick on email marketing because it is still very effective, but maybe 20, 30% open rate, a couple percent click-through rate. So there's a huge portion of people that never even see your message or emails. And also related to that, maybe we get visitors to our website through SEO, through Instagram and all. So we look at the traffic, but then maybe not enough go to our contact page. Oh my gosh, only 5%, 10%. Or, well, I got this many visitors last month, but how come some of them didn't take the action? So that's where we kind of need to find a happy medium to kind of give the opportunity to our potential clients, our brides, our grooms, our boudoir clients, for example, and maybe they're not quite ready to take the next step, but they're interested.
But you get them in the funnel. This is to get them in the funnel.
Yeah, just like the first couple of steps. And that's really where this whole way of communicating. So I always look at chat marketing as also communication as well, but that's where it comes in.
And just to bring everybody into what we're talking about here, and essentially, like in a nutshell, and to keep this as simple as possible, what we're going to be discussing today is using Facebook Messenger and attaching automation to that to help generate leads. Like you said, whether it is for your wedding business or boudoir business or portrait business, I imagine this could be even used by, it doesn't even have to be just for photographers. This could be used for probably a lot of businesses trying to generate leads. And setting up this system, and this is where you come in, because that's the hard part. And then once this system is in place, it kind of operates on an autopilot. And then after that, it does all the hard work, and you can sit back and kind of just collect these leads. Does that sound about right? Or
yeah, that's the ideal goal right there. And it sounds pretty good, right? You can run your business, do other things. You can spend time with your loved ones, having that peace of mind that not only are you able to get the potential client to get in touch with you, maybe through a little chat widget or a little pop-up or other means. And that's the great thing. I call chat marketing the Swiss Army knife of marketing, because you can kind of apply it, but also continue that conversation later on, whether it's on Messenger or you can move them to another what's called channel. But yeah, the sort of overarching thing is to make the most of the exposure that we're getting to our site. And what if we can just increase our leads by, even if it's a few per week, and that could lead to a couple more sales and all. So that's where, and you mentioned with, there's a bit of work at least to kind of optimize it, but to get it started, which hopefully we'll talk about in a bit, is following a couple of steps, and you can at least get going on that.
Yeah, because what I want you to walk everybody through, because this is a little new to people, so I want to take it a little bit slow and just tell the people exactly what the service does, what you're providing, and how people can get an idea how this can benefit them. And one scary word that may come involved with this is chatbots, and something that people may have heard of, and and so why don't you explain what that is and how that integrates as part of the system?
Absolutely, Mike. So with the phrase chat marketing, Messenger, using Facebook Messenger, but also a huge component of that is automation, and that is with a chatbot. And normally when we hear that phrase, and even for me coming from more of a technical background, I kind of shudder a little bit, like, oh, it sounds robotic or impersonal or even spammy, and maybe we've been so-called spammed by bots over the years.
Yeah, because it doesn't have a positive connotation all the time.
And so that's like with a lot of things, if you don't use it correctly, then that's not going to provide a good experience. But this is where you want to be able to be present, as the saying goes, out of sight, out of mind. So you get, whether it's through Instagram exposure, you have a link on your bio, or once again, SEO, going to a blog post, or maybe not right now, but doing a wedding show. That's where you get all these people potential, right? And so how can I optimize that? And if we just look at our website, we'll just focus on one thing. So you get people coming to your website, and normally the only way they can get in touch with you is filling out your contact form,
right?
Maybe they'll give you a phone call. Maybe that's still pretty popular, or text you, email you. But more often, a lot of our potential clients are on mobile, they're on the go, or they're just not ready yet. They're interested, but they're not ready to take that next step. So that's where you will have that little widget in the lower right-hand corner. And there's a lot of so-called chatbot softwares out there. And this one that we use, or that I use, called Manychat, but with Facebook Messenger. That's the power of this. This is integrated with the biggest social media platform in the world, and messaging channel in Messenger. So as the kind of the eye test, do you think your potential client is on Messenger or using Messenger and Facebook? And almost everyone's going to say yes. So, and that's where they come to your website. They just click a few buttons, and then they so-called opt in, kind of like an email opt in. But now you have them as a so-called lead, and then you can do a lot of cool things on the back end to get them to take the next step.
Yeah, because this method has benefits over just a contact form, I guess, in that you can set up, and we'll get into this again, some automated responses. So if someone says, hey, I just want some info on your pricing, that could be programmed to give them some information automatically that they were looking for. But I know it goes a bit further than that. But just want to find out a little bit about, this is all revolving around Facebook Messenger. And why Facebook Messenger? Is that a good platform to use to sort of centralize the system around?
Yeah, Mike. So there's a double-edged sword with Facebook Messenger, even though over 1+ billion people in the world use it. But most importantly, our potential clients are using it to communicate with our families and friends and all. But because its popularity is, you want to tap into that audience. And so, Facebook ads, if you decide to run that is also part of this whole chat marketing system. But you don't have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. And so you're literally using Facebook's platform, and Facebook in itself has, of course, Messenger, but also you can integrate that to your website with Messenger. That's the one that maybe some of us are very familiar with. Maybe you already have it set up on our website where, hey, I already have this Messenger, and they could chat with me. But all of that is real time. You have to be there to respond back to the other person. I guess you can do a little automation, but like you said, if they wanted pricing, availability, maybe different packages, or, hey, Mike, you do boudoir, but do you also shoot something else? And maybe that wasn't on our website, and therefore they're assuming you don't. But with a little chatbot, you can say, hey, we also do other things, or whatever it might be. You're running a promotion also. That's where you just want to get their attention and have them take that one action, and they just push a few buttons.
And not only that, everybody's on Facebook Messenger right now. Facebook is so prevalent. Like you said, there's billions of people on there. So it's not something new that people have to go and sign up for. Odds are it's right on their phone right now. And so you have a way right into their phone and a way to contact them. It's not causing people to take an extra step. Because I'm guessing that there's lots and lots of people that use that anyway every day of their lives. Like you said, to talk to their family members and spouses and friends and so forth.
Could I also mention one more thing, Mike, if that's okay? Sorry to...
no, go ahead.
Before I forget, because I know maybe some of us are thinking, well, Henry and Mike, maybe maybe they're not on Facebook, right? Sure, there's lots of people, but what if they don't prefer to use Messenger? Does that mean we're not able to use chat marketing or the chatbot or this software called Manychat? And what is that? We'll maybe talk a little bit more about that. But yes, Messenger is the main, most popular channel, is what they call the means of communicating with you. But absolutely, you can implement text messaging, SMS, of course, and soon even what's called rich communication service, so where you can be a little more interactive, but also email marketing. I know we kind of started that out a little wrong foot, but email marketing is under chat marketing. It's sort of the way I look at it is a mean of still communicating. So you can actually do messenger marketing, text message marketing, and email marketing.
They all tie together.
And exactly that. What's called this phrase that we might hear more often in the months and years to come, multi-channel marketing, where you're able to reach out to and not just market but communicate. So maybe your potential client, they found you on Messenger or through a Facebook ad and they went to your website, but then they prefer text. Okay, you can switch over to that. Or maybe they do want to get an email. You don't want to be sending out a long, lengthy contract message in text or anything. You still want to use email. Absolutely, you can utilize that as well. And for a lot of us that are probably on Instagram for our marketing, soon in the future, it's supposed to be probably more this year, but with things happening, kind of pushed back. But Instagram with direct messaging, that is also going to be a channel that's part of chat marketing. And maybe you have international listeners using WhatsApp. So those are the other two that are coming to this world of chat marketing.
They're going to be integrated. Yeah. And I think the benefit there is that it seems people now are more comfortable maybe talking to someone else through text messaging. It's just how people are used to communicating. So they may be a little bit more open to receiving a text message or an IM through something like Facebook Messenger than getting on the phone with somebody immediately. They may be a little bit more, it's more conversational, I would think, and maybe they're a little bit more apt to respond to you or get involved with you.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing that I learned about when I started this at the end of 2018, so pretty much beginning of 2019, about a year and a half, and I've collected almost 800 what they call subscribers, kind of like email subscribers, of which about 600 were potential brides and grooms. And the full transparency, because most of them pretty much all came through Facebook. Not that this is important, but I can see their names and what they look like, and right. So there's a lot more transparency with that. But also, what I found out is most, especially since they've never heard of me before, that they don't want to talk to me. They don't want to talk to a human being initially, at least. They want to get their information, and then maybe down the road, a few days, weeks later.
Okay. Seems like I can trust them. They get to know you a little bit better, which is part of the broader thing now, and making this people comfortable with you, and they'll more apt to interact with you when they feel they know you a little bit better.
Like going in a store, right? Which I know right now is once again a little tricky, but you have somebody come up to you or maybe at the mall and you pass by a kiosk and, is there anything I could help you out with? Mm-hmm. Are you interested in that? And a lot of times we're like, no, we're just looking, but they're interested. They're just not ready yet. So that's where with the chatbot, they get the information they need and it's on their terms and schedule, if you will. But because maybe it's 2 a.m, they decide to look more up about what you offer, and sure enough, you can have your little, chatbot program, and then maybe you wake up the next morning and you can kind of continue that conversation with them if you like. So there's just a lot of flexibilities that you can use with this new marketing and communication way.
Interesting. And then this is all, I'm guessing that the core of this is Manychat. And if our people, I'm a little familiar with it, like we were talking before I started hit recording, and I'll get into my experience with that a little bit. But why don't you talk a little bit about Manychat and how that operates and how that functions within this system?
Definitely, Mike. And so Manychat is it's kind of described in a couple of different ways, but it is the chatbot.
It's comprehensive.
Yeah, the chatbot software. That's where you go in and do all the quote unquote programming, but that's where you build your chatbot and you run things. But it's also looked at as a CRM, right? We're all pretty familiar, client relations manager, like a Tave or Dubsado. So that's also where you manage your subscribers, your potential clients, your leads, and that's also where you could not only get this working, through Messenger, Facebook Messenger, but there's columns in there for SMS and email, and then others in the future. But that's the software where one place you go and you can make pretty much all of this work. And it's, if I may say so, it's very relatively, there's always a learning curve, but there's tutorials and you kind of get going, but you don't need to spend so-called a lot of hours and gray hairs getting it up and running. Just kind of do the first initial things, which we'll probably talk about. But that's where the main question we want to answer is, hey, if I just take this new strategy and spend a little bit of time. Could I increase my leads? Could I increase my conversations with potential clients? And only one way to find out, right? So
yeah, and that's what this is about, and kind of a running theme on this show, that things don't just come to you. I always use the action of, or the routine of, like going to the gym. That's a good activity, but you don't get an immediate return on that. You don't go to the gym once and do some bench presses and wind up huge and muscular. You don't see results at first. It takes a while, and good things take time before you see these returns. And something like this too, it's to go into Manychat and to get that going is going to take a little bit of time. You may not see like this immediate windfall, but over time, it's a proven method where you will grow your business and you will be able to get these interactions and grow your client base using this. It does take a little upfront work though, but the theme here, nothing is easy like that. There's no magic wand thing where boom and suddenly people show up at your door. So this is a great system, and we want to make sure that even though there may be a little bit of work, but that's where you come in too, because you'll set all this stuff up for people. We'll get into that.
Try my best to help others out. Yeah.
In a minute, but this is really something I think in a direction where not just photographers like you say, but even other people involved in the wedding photography business can benefit from this system and ultimately grow more leads from this. So people who aren't familiar with that Manychat, like, could take a look at that, and we'll list these links so people can go see. But this is where the chatbot function comes from within Manychat. It's not just a CRM, like you mentioned earlier. There's a little bit of a programming aspect to this. And how does that work, or what is a chatbot for people who don't really know what a chatbot is?
Yeah, great question there, Mike. So I always kind of start from the comparison with one that we're all familiar with. And you mentioned how this is not just, of course, for photographers, but really all business. So if you have like a Facebook business page, an Instagram account, a website, right? This is going to apply to you with chat marketing. But we're pretty familiar where if we get a message through our Facebook business page, we go to our facebook.com/our business and go to the inbox tab, and we see all our conversations right there with our potential clients, our leads. So that is now what's done through Manychat. So for example, for me, I run my own wedding photography business. I never go to that Facebook inbox tab anymore. Everything with the communicating, even just typing out back and forth, having a real-time manual conversation is done through Manychat. But with the chatbot component, okay, when somebody clicks on that little button or a link or through a Facebook ad, and normally that would be, okay, real-time chat. But now with the automation, you build that, or quote unquote program it in Manychat, and you have what's called these flows and diagrams, and you connect things together. So the nice thing is it's very visual, so you don't have to learn a language or a computer language. It's all very intuitive. And the best part, what I love, is you can test it out immediately. Just push a button and you can go to your phone or your desktop and see exactly what the user would experience with your chatbot.
Yeah. So, and just so people know, there is a very, very simple version of this, I think, baked into Facebook pages anyway. They have some, and in essence, what it is a set of automated responses. And you'll see that there's a very basic version of this now. I think if you go to your Facebook page, if someone mentions pricing, you can set it up to automatically send this person pricing. So in essence, what you're doing is trying to take some basic questions that people may be asking you or want information about your company, and setting up a series of sort of automated responses that are going to drive people through this funnel to ultimately get them to some point where you want them to be. I guess that's sort of a very broad way to say that for people who are like, what the hell are these guys talking about?
I'm glad you mentioned the automation a bit with Facebook Messenger, and I totally forgot about that, mainly because I never did that. I went straight to Manychat and started the automation there. But absolutely, with Facebook's native, built-in Messenger, there's automation. There's a couple questions that you could set up, and normally it's like, hey, what are your prices, your availability? But then when the lead or the user pushes a button, then maybe you can have an automated message. But that's really it. After that first message,
it's very simple. What they have is very simple,
right? And you have to step in as a business owner, and which is fine. That's a personalization part of all this. But if you're on the go and you don't want to be trying to talk to 20 different people, if most of them are not interested yet, so that's where you kind of need like a little filter in between. And then from their end, they got the information, or maybe they didn't, and that's it. They moved on to somebody else. You still want to keep them involved in your business, and that's where you can your chatbot will provide additional content and things to get them to so-called know, like,
it's more detailed. Essentially, this you can really start to create funnels or flows for very specific things. And I'm guessing this can go on over multiple conversations too. This isn't a simple ask and get a response. There can be multiple ways you can send people based on the responses that they give you or information that you want to get to them. And we'll get into that in a bit. But as far as the Manychat goes, and I mentioned just a little bit before we started recording, I have a little bit of experience with that. In that last Christmas, I think I came across it. I don't remember how. And I said, I'll mess around with this a little bit. And I set up my own contest. I wanted to give away a boudoir session as a Christmas present. And I decided to try to use this Manychat and use this automation. And I went in there and you had to program all these steps. The idea was I made a post for this on my Facebook profile. All you had to do was comment on the post and you were entered for this giveaway. And I promoted that post and people just had to type in just one response. Yes, please add me. And then from there, this Manychat kicked in and started to send the people all the information they needed and directed them to my website. So it can be a powerful tool to really get results. And it worked for me.
That's great. Worked. Yeah, I was curious.
I literally got, I don't know, like hundreds, not hundred, maybe 100 and something. I didn't run it very long. Yeah, but I was a little surprised. But the one thing that, and we touched on this earlier, because it's a programming language in essence, and I don't want to make people afraid of that. But yes, you set this all up, and it directed people, entered them and it chats with them in their Facebook Messenger. They were sent over to my website. They filled out a simple form, and they were entered. Less work for me to do. It took care of everything. But the setting it up is really the work, and so this is where you come in this, and chat marketing, it comes in, because that's not the fun part.
The fun part's getting the leads to your notifications and the when
you start getting those leads in there. But and I was a little nervous because I'm thinking, what if I didn't set something right up in that workflow, or what if I didn't do this right, and people are getting lost in that.
It could happen, and that's where, being that this is such a relatively new marketing strategy, if you will, and so forth, that you're going to get a few hiccups. But the nice thing, as you said, Mike, is you see the results if you've so-called done it, correctly, if you will, and there's always a learning process. You're going to see the traction, and they're clicking through. And because Manychat is integrated, it's like a hand in a glove with Facebook. It
works seamlessly.
Yeah, and that's where you get somebody to come in and you see what they're up to. You can literally follow what they're pushing. There's buttons in Messenger, and sometimes the best way, I know we're with the audio version, but you go and test it out later. Maybe other companies, and you'll see as a potential user of how this works. And the best way is that you're taking them from point A to point B, and kind of like guiding them along. And your chatbot, and so when I say you, is your virtual assistant, your chatbot, not you, us as a individual. And so you're not. Once you set this up, you let it run, and you're kind of just monitoring it, making some improvements here and there. But you get them to a certain point, like in your case, Mike, with your contest, going to your website, fill out a contact form.
And I can speak on your behalf.
How did that go?
I haven't used your system, but it works. And people will go through this workflow, and I've had results with this. So I know for a fact firsthand that this system is effective, and once it's set up in place, it does work. So that's the exciting thing about something like this. And when we're talking about these chatbots, we mentioned doing it right on the website as well. So what you're talking about here is taking some kind of a chat tool and integrating it into your website, like a plugin or something like that. So it's not just only on Facebook that you can use this.
That's absolutely right. There's so many different ways to get the term is like subscribers or users, basically people into your business, into your chatbot system. Manychat's term is called growth tools, but that's just, in other words, how are you going to get people into your system? It could be like you were using, which is really, really neat, is integrating that with an actual Facebook page post, just like any other post that we put up. But then if somebody comments on that post, then Messenger automatically pops up on there, and then they can take the next step from there. But yes, you can have what's called a widget, a customer chat, little bubble, which I think most of us familiar. If we go to any business website, we see that in the lower right.
How can I help you? That pop up.
So you can have that, but this is with a virtual with your chatbot, excuse me, and you can always step right in and have a conversation, you as a business owner, with the individual immediately if you like. So everything is very customizable. But speaking of customizable, you can have links, link in your bio of your Instagram. If you do Pinterest, and they let you put a link right there, so the person just clicks on a link, takes them directly into Facebook Messenger on their end. So that's where I kind of call it that Swiss Army knife of marketing as well. And I thought long and hard about all the various ways we can market our business, and not just as photographers, but any business. And there's all these various ways, and every single way you can utilize this chat marketing strategy. If you have a store, an in-person store, a studio, an office, restaurants and so forth, where
and it's universal. It's not just for a wedding photographer. It's not just for a children's portrait photographer. This really can be adaptable to so many different types of businesses within photography or outside photography. And I know I saw on your website, I was creeping around a little bit, that this also integrates somehow with Facebook ads. How does that work with a Facebook ad? I saw how it worked from a post, but is there a type of Facebook ad that is sort of integrated with the chat, and that's how that works?
Yeah, definitely, Mike. So we're going to get a little geeky here, but you probably remember last...
I got my geek glasses on.
December, when you set this up with your contest, you went to one of the places in Manychat and you chose that Facebook post growth tool. But right next to that, there's one called Facebook Ads, JSO, and it's JavaScript, some object orientation, something like that. But basically, it's a connection between Manychat, your chatbot, and your Facebook ad. So you normally would go into Facebook Ads Manager, set up your ads, and there's a section you have to run some kind of it's called a message campaign. So some of us might be doing that if you try to run an ad and you want the person to click on the send message to just send you a message and message. But it's kind of similar to this, but now you have this other special code and you connect the two together. So that way when the bride or the boudoir, they see your ad, yes, they'll still click send message just like before, but now it's connected to your Manychat account, and then your chatbot kicks in, and that's where you can ask a couple questions, they click a button, and sort of to add to that, Mike, that's sort of human nature for us. We like to, when we get a notification on our phone and the little icon, we want to see who it's from,
you want to look,
especially if it's Messenger, like who just messaged me. It's a very, still a very intimate sort of private way of communicating versus maybe conventional email where we kind of get used to seeing all that. So that's where you're getting people to click really and take action, and you're giving them these micro tasks, not tasks, or like buttons to click on, type something out. It's not like respond back in a long format or anything. So that's simple. What you get them to keep engaging, even if it's with Facebook ads. To your point, with it could be complete strangers that never heard you before, and you're offering them like we normally would, like a freebie, a lead magnet on a landing page. You can do exactly the same thing as you would with that, but now using Facebook Messenger and go from that route to nurture your lead, so to speak.
Yeah, so that really adds another layer of sophistication to Facebook ads, because no longer is it a click and you just bring them to a website or to a page. You can really start to engage people in a level that wasn't really possible before. You can create some great personal interaction from something like that. So that's really amazing.
Kind of one more point with that, if that's okay, Mike. It's, some of us, maybe we're starting out in our business, and it's pretty intimidating and overwhelming. I got to get my website. I got to do my, I got to get my social media presence going. I got to market. Where should I spend advertising? And one of those things is, how do I get complete strangers that have never heard of me to know, like, and trust me? And conventionally, which I definitely still recommend, you can always test it out, but we do the landing page, send them to a specific page, freebie, running a contest. But what's in exchange for the person to get that is their email address, which is still great. But alternatively, if you, not to say you want to skip it, but an alternative is, let's just send that traffic to Messenger. They're already on Facebook with Facebook ads, and you don't need to create a landing page. You kind of try that approach and see if you can get similar results
right through the bot, right through the Manychat, rather than setting
almost like a little bit of a shortcut. And then you can see how to improve it from there. And then we get people from all different sort of standpoint, kind of like the customer's journey. Is this a recommendation from a past boudoir client, or bride and groom, or is this a complete stranger that just Googled you, Google so and so, and found you on Google? And each of them, you need to present. We need to present them a different path to the next step. We can't just have the same so-called message and call to action. So so that's all those variables we can utilize in Manychat and chat marketing to what's called your customer's journey and giving them the right path to take.
Right. Yeah. It's important for people to know. And if you want to keep up to date with marketing and the latest things, this is really something that seems maybe a little bit overwhelming at first, but this is one of those things you have to sit down. You have to contact somebody like Chen Henry, and he will walk you through getting this going. And like I said, it really is just the future of sort of marketing. I think this kind of personal, interactive kind of a system. And what I want to get into a little bit, and I want you to talk about how this all comes together in weddingchatmarketing.com, because again, I was creeping on your website a little bit, and I see you have a training. I think you sell these templates, and then also you sell the service where you'll train people and put all this together for them. And as far as the training goes, which you have the Wedding Chat Academy on there, if I'm somebody who really is like, wow, this seems like the Wild West, I want to get in there and stake my claim and start to take advantage of this. How does that fit in, or where should I start on your website, or if I just want to get a little bit of more information about this?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike, for this incredible opportunity and providing your audience.
No, it's a good tool. It's one of those things, Henry, when you see it and this is something people need to know about, and they can really leverage this, and knowing, again, firsthand how this works, it's important, I think, for people to know. So that's why we got you here, because this is an expert. If I can make
request a huge favor from your audience, if you're listening to this episode and you're hearing about this maybe for the first time, please let, if it's okay, Mike, to let him know, because we heard it on the Mike Cassidy podcast, right? And so we always remember when we heard about something for the first time, and I think that's always important. But it's where maybe we're brand new to this, and I just want to find out a little bit more about how this works, maybe not down to the programming so-called level, but just kind of like a high level bird's eye view. How do I connect so-and-so? How do I take a person from here to there? And that's where I do have YouTube videos over on the Facebook page, and I usually go live once a week just to answer questions and just help out the community. Even though, yes, it is wedding chat marketing, but kind of forget the wedding part. And
we want to make sure that this can be used.
Absolutely.
And I'm guessing from what I see on this, if I came to you and I said, Henry, I want to do one of these workflows for the boudoir business, you have a group of people which can custom put this together.
Yeah,
for
and
whatever anybody's needs need to be.
I got really excited when I'm reading our a little bit of our notes here, but when you said you ran that contest, because you can, and we're gonna get a little geeky again, but you can build a viral campaign, basically a chatbot that you can encourage your users, your subscribers, to share your business, and the more they share, the more quote unquote points they get, and the higher chance of them winning your session or your whatever your prize might be.
Entries.
And I built this a few weeks ago. I'm going to test this for a few people I'm working with. So I'm
like a contest bot.
And this is all automated, and you do need a few moving parts. It's definitely not the easiest thing, but it's very much, once you have it, it is self-working or so. But so I would say that the Chat Academy, and that is my, if I be very transparent, that is my paid program where I provide the training, the step-by-step, the coaching, and actually in about an hour, we have our weekly coaching calls with our students where I look at their chatbots and Facebook ads and find out what's going on, what's working, what's not working. Once again, I'm an engineer, so I'm very much a numbers geek. Yeah. So we always look at those kind of things. But I would say that there is the free training there. You can go on the website and a couple of blog posts. So and there is, being a chat marketing person, there is a chatbot for wedding chat marketing, and you can try it out.
People could go onto that web and just see what it's all about.
Exactly, and I think that's always the best thing. If we're like, I don't know, Henry, that's still a little bit overwhelming, I'm not sure. Totally understandable. That's how I felt when I started out. I didn't even know what. Like I was like, I don't know about this, but just use it as on the other end and see if this is something you would like for your own business. And then you can kind of take the next step, which is you can go to Manychat.com and sign up. It's a free account. There's a pro one, which we're all going to need sooner than later for some of the features, but the free one will get us by indefinitely, and you can just kind of play around with it a little. That's what I always recommend, is just be a sponge and absorb as much as like we would with any new marketing strategy. And then, yes, if we take the next step, and if you're you did the learning and all, and that's where Henry, I kind of need a little head start on a template, or can you just kind of help me do this or get me started? There's options for that as well.
So the training in the academy, is that just for students, or is that anybody can sign up for that? And is it like a Kajabi or something where people can just learn more about it, or is it just for people that are already involved?
It's actually funny you mentioned Kajabi, but yeah, it is. I use Kajabi, which is online business course platform. So that is what my whole weddingchatmarketing.com is in Kajabi. But that is only for students, and specifically, even it is tailored for wedding professionals. So we have planners and florists and DJs in there. So I have a couple of dozen students in that program. And it isn't something that you just go on a site and sign up. There is a training, and mainly because I want to make sure that this is a good fit. If still at that point, feel free to.
But you do have examples on your website. Again, you do have videos.
Yeah,
there's going through and walking through people how this works and some of the workflows. And again, it looks overwhelming with all these diagrams, with all these arrows pointing to all these different bubbles and so forth. But the basics of it are that, not knowing anything about this, I can get a good overview by going to your website. And then from there, I can even go to Manychat myself and see how comfortable I am with that service. And if I feel like, Henry, I'm a pretty smart guy, I think I can get this. I can still just go to you for the workflow. Now,
absolutely.
I made my own on Manychat, but I'm guessing from what you do, it lets you sort of upload or import like custom workflows into it. I can just import, and it goes right in there, and I don't have to go through and set everything up, which is like 99% of the work.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a section called templates, and once you your contest work template, if you or your chatbot, Mike, there's where you click a few buttons and that gets bundled. It's kind of like a zip file where we kind of put everything together, and it's just a link, and you share that link with somebody else, and the requirement is they got to have a Manychat account and probably the pro version,
which is all into their
$10 per month. But they just click on that, and immediately all the content you have in there will be transferred over to them. They will need to do some tweaks, probably change the name of the business and the messaging and things like that. But yeah, that's where it would save them quite a bit of time to start from.
It's time, and as you know, that's one resource none of us are getting more of. So the genius part in there, and I didn't even know Manychat you could do this, where you can you have created these flows already for people. How many different ones do you have, or how do you work on that front about as tailor? Are they kind of just like off the shelf versions that people buying, or is there still some customization available?
Yeah, so as we speak, I'm working with a designer to build a store to help some of us that might just be specifically interested in the template. I do want to preface by saying, even with the template, we do need to know how to use Manychat. It's not just maybe not the best comparison, but it's not like a website where you get the template and then you can just tweak a few things. We still want to make sure we understand how to use Manychat, even if it's at a sort of basic level, because you got to go in there and make certain.
You got to put
draw some arrows, click here and there, and then later on to improve it. Absolutely, and that's the big thing about all of this. It's a really important point. Is we're going to be able to see what's working, what's not immediately, and how to improve. And there's really no guessing game when it comes to chat marketing. But if it's for any kind of business, the way I put my templates together, Mike, is try to start off from a sort of a certain common standpoint, and then I have other areas where you can be more specific to your specific niche, the type of service that you're providing. Maybe you want to run just a very basic, kind of like having a website, if you will, but within Messenger, if you can kind of take that analogy, you have basic things like an about, a portfolio. You can share your images, but then a contact, go over to your CRM and things of that nature. Or if you want to run a contest, maybe for some of us, we are educators or marketers, and a lot of our clients are online specifically already, and there's ways to go about. So I built a few things, and I'm continuing to work on that to provide them.
It's a lot of work. And if I go on and buy one of your flows. I don't even know what the right word is to call them one of these bots. The templates, yeah. And if that's something I get at that point, am I able to customize that? Or once that file comes in, it just gets imported into Manychat and it is what it is? Or at that point, can I put my own pictures in there or change it as I need to?
Yeah, you have full customization over the templates. As soon as you install it, I do have some videos to go along with that. It's about 4 or 5 part video. It does make the assumption that we're familiar a bit with Manychat. So I think in our case with Mike, you have an account and you've ran some flows and things, that would be perfect. Versus if we're starting out from complete scratch, if we just sign up for a Manychat account or hearing about this, I don't recommend going right into a template. Spend a little bit of time building maybe a few very basic things from scratch to familiarize yourself with the interface and how it works. And then if we have the time and willing to put in the efforts, then maybe a training program would be a good option versus like, hey, I just want to get a template and get going. Then that's where that would be another better option.
They can tweak it on their own time there. But like as you mentioned, if I want something just for the floral business, I can contact you, and I guess I would provide you with my own content, or we'd have some kind of a discussion like this, and you'd let me know what I need or what you need from me, and then you could build that just to exactly what I need to my custom specification. Yeah,
definitely. So you can take, and not only that, but down the road, when we all need to improve this, which is inevitable, that's when you'll know. And you can always come back to. I'm trying to grow a little business here too, but to my company, and that's where, hey, Henry, it's been a couple of months. I purchased this, or I did this a couple months ago. There's always new regulations and guidelines. That's a huge thing. We haven't talked about it. But
Facebook's always changing.
Yeah, and Manychat's new features and all. It's literally by every other week there's something that's happening, and so just kind of keeping up to date. I do have a Facebook group, if I may say, so that's where I'm posting some of those updates, so that we're on the loop.
Where can people go on? Where can they go on Facebook to?
Thanks, Mike. It's just Wedding Chat Marketing. So just look that up in Facebook, and they'll see the group right at the top. And because it is a lot, even for me, as I dive into this almost every day, a couple hours, it's still a little bit at times, a lot of information. So I try to just take the most important ones for us as creative entrepreneurs, not just weddings and boudoir, photographers, but all of us that are in sort of this similar niche and providing the most applicable content for them. And
then if I'm somebody who's like, I have no time for this. This is something I really want to take advantage of. Henry, I just can't get into this. You'll set everything up. You'll set it up. You'll create the bots, not just send me a template, but you'll do this all for me. And I'm like, thank you. So that's also an option for people who don't want to get involved and learn about this as well.
I'm chuckling a little bit, Mike, because literally right now as we're talking about this, end of June, if I may say so, where I'm looking to literally find help, some contractors or bot builders, because it's getting a little more popular. And right now, I can help do that type of service.
Upwork.
Maybe Upwork. Yeah, so that Upwork. And so, but yes, that is the plan. There is what's called a done for you service where I wouldn't say it's not completely off everything to me, but because I want us to be able to at least know a few things, especially the important metrics and if our bot's working and so forth, from a technical standpoint, if our campaigns are performing well, what's our key performance parameters, things of that nature. But that's where build everything for you, also provide the training, whether it's real time or pre-recorded. And for some of the larger companies, maybe they have a specific marketing person or social media person. I would train them, provide access to my training program, and then possibly a monthly retainer, or they're off to the races on their own and more of a consulting kind of thing. So
because there's a lot of work involved in that.
Yeah.
Because if I come to you and said, hey, I need something for my specific type of business, I'm a high-end type of a photographer, and I'm looking for this, this, and this, there's a lot of work sitting down and involved in putting that all together specific for just what I want. So the time is involved. But again, it's worth it. It's going to be some more work up front. But once that's implemented, it's just running on its own, and you don't really have to think about it too much anymore. Maybe just hit those updates every once in a while and just sit back and take those responses. And how's this been going? I guess business has been growing, and the response has been positive so far for this, huh?
Yeah, for the most part. I always with COVID, it was a very sensitive with what's happening, because I did not want it to hey, because this is happening, we should do this because that seems a little not really something I'm comfortable with. But, so instead, what I did the last couple of months, just from my personal preference as maybe an educator is not the best word, but just someone to try to provide value online, which is, hey, let me just take a step back and let's look at our business. And this is I just finished a month-long boot camp, a free boot camp on marketing for wedding professionals. So part of that was talking about chat marketing and why this is important. So I try to take more of that approach, but it's becoming more popular, not only because people are at home, but just in general, even before this year started, how do we like to communicate our potential clients? They're on their phones, and whether it's Messenger or SMS or even WhatsApp, and also just the nature of the way marketing and communicating. And
it's the way it's going.
Yeah. This is still very new, Mike. I would say, like when the first time we heard about maybe something like Instagram or Facebook pages and all, it usually takes a couple of years for most of us to kind of get going and seeing the results. But I would say being one of the very first, at the very least, check it out, maybe install that little customer chat widget, see what happens in a a week or two. And that's the exciting part, is we don't have to wait weeks and weeks and months to see if we can gain some traction with this. And we don't have to spend any money either, especially with the free Manychat plan. So that's my...
And I'm guessing you use this on your own wedding site.
Oh, yes.
Like you mentioned, this you've had, so...
Yes, absolutely.
You don't have to get into too much detail like financially here, but what have you seen from, I know this is a little biased, that's coming from you, but what have your results been, or how did this affect your business, say, in the recent term, and how that worked for you?
Well, I would say last year, it was a couple, almost about 3/4. I would say 3 out of 4 inquiries I got. And these are, I always kind of differentiate between a lead and an inquiry. So a lead could be a cold lead. They never heard of you. They're interested in downloading a lead magnet, right? Versus an inquiry where they're legitimately interested in your services. They're hiring, in my case, a wedding photographer very soon. So an inquiry, 3 out of 4 inquiries came in through Messenger versus a contact form. So people still fill out the contact form on my site, but on my contact page, there is an option to just click it and go into Messenger and get my pricing or find out my availability. But most of my bookings last year, a few dozen, came because of through Messenger. I wouldn't say, they would not have filled out the contact form kind of thing, but because they saw that, they opted to do that. I do have several case studies on the website where I walk you can see screenshot by screenshot the conversations with the bride or the groom in my case.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, where they came from, and I need to update that a little bit. But also on the Facebook business page, I'm posting there almost every day, every other day, screenshots of leads, and not only that, but inquiries.
So it's working. It's worked for you. So that's why now you've hit something here, Henry. People need to know about this.
Yeah, sorry for the a little bit of a rambling there, but definitely
no,
it's working. And even if it's not like immediate bookings, which is the grand prize, right? Just having this to get the potential client to book a call with you all on automation is pretty nice, because then we can see, this is working, or what, they got stuck in step 5 and I need to go in there and change things up a little bit to have them push this button or, something. So yeah, definitely, it was been working for me. And I kind of want to say like this, but I really feel because I have this set up, I'm able to still book the 3 to 4 weddings per month in the last couple, because even with what's happening, I can't control if weddings are going to happen or not. But as far as the marketing goes, that's something I think we can still not only do, but we should be doing to stay relevant with our business and all.
So it's working. It's a smart service that and I think people do need to get involved with this. There is just that comfort level with that chat messenger. Like I said, people are very used to texting or IMing each other right now, and I think they're more at ease contacting a business in that way, and it saves the photographer time, that he doesn't have to manually send out price lease or availability or stuff like that. It can do a lot of that work. People can get to know you on their own terms. Mm-hmm. They can see if they can feel comfortable with somebody. And then ultimately, I think it makes it easier to make that connection with your client if they're doing it a little bit on their own pace, and you're not forcing somebody into a phone call where they don't necessarily want to get on a phone call with somebody. So it's a good service. And it takes some time. Yeah. It takes a little bit of work.
You a quick question, Mike?
Yes.
I noticed on your website that you have in the lower right-hand corner.
Yes.
Is that, I know that's probably different software, not Manychat, but have you had that up for quite some time, and has it been pretty okay, or would you feel like, hey, a little bit of automation might be something to think about?
Yeah, and that's a good question. And the one that I have on my website comes through Wix, and they have that chat integration into their website, and it lets you turn it on and you can turn it off. There's a very basic auto response to their. Oh, I'm going to cough. I'm going to tickle in my throat. It lets you send like an automated response to somebody if they contact you. They're like, I'll be with you in a minute, or if I don't answer in a minute, leave your email address. But that's as far as it goes. So that, if I'm available, I flip on and I can leave an automated message. So if you go to my website, I don't think it's on now, it'll pop up and say, hey, this is Mike, how can I help you? Otherwise, it just sits there and you can click on it. When I have it on, I do get people who message me from time to time. I think the downfall there is sometimes I go out and go to the grocery store and forget I have that on, and people may message you and you may not see it. So I would be someone that would be very interested in somehow integrating that kind of system on my web chat to further that interaction, because I'm always afraid that, I may go and see someone left me a message later and then I'm like, ooh, I could have interacted, or I could have had further interaction with that person when I was out picking up apples in the grocery store and forgot to turn my on my chat work. So it works. People who go on there, they will click on that. I don't know exactly how many people as a percentage of people that are on my website. But since I added that on there maybe a little over a year or so, yeah, I would be someone who would be looking for improvements in that to have more interaction with my people, and they seem to use it.
Yeah, and I think that's a great testament to even just having something like that, whether it's automated or not yet, but just to give another option for them to and test that versus them filling out a contact form. I'm sure most of us have, analytics, Google Analytics installed, and we can see, what percentage of people actually go to my contact. And that's actually one of the things I was noticing a few years ago, Mike, was, that percentage was going down and down, and I'm losing people that might be interested, but they're not filling out the content. Maybe it was too long. Maybe they're on the go. They'll come back to it a little bit later on, but try to find a little bit easier way for us to get in touch with them. But
yeah, and it's comfort again. I think people may be more comfortable hitting up a little chat, than they are maybe filling out a whole contact form for somebody. And it depends on the person. And I don't think ultimately one thing is going to replace the other. I think you're just broadening the appeal to the people who some may feel more comfortable going through a chat. Others may be okay going to the contact form. So it just gives you more options ultimately. Definitely. In the end. And that's what you need. The people want, you got to give them what they want. You got to give the people what they want.
There you go.
So I think we covered a lot of information today. See,
time flies
into my vortex, and before you know, you're here for an hour, and you're like, "Oh my God, talking to this guy for an hour. I could be doing so many other important things." But before we go, I just want Henry, everybody, to tell them where they can find you, where they can get in touch with you, and the website for the chat marketing service that you have.
Yeah, thanks again so much, Mike, for having me as a guest, and as my podcast is a little bit on hiatus, but from one podcast to another. Really
tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, when I get about, I'm going to have to get in touch with you, have you as a guest. But
you're very busy. You're very busy. You only got so much time.
I know. One advice, if I may say so, is because I do this all the time, which is. I'm going to keep this going every week and consistency, and then a couple months later, right? So I'm taking a little breather, but you can find me over at weddingchatmarketing.com, just the way it sounds. There's a Facebook group, free Facebook group, just under that name as well. And if you do end up interacting with the chatbot over that, or even my wedding website, you can just Google my name, Henry Chen, and it should pop up. It's called Vita's Weddings, but you can go in there and just play around with it a little bit. But please let me know if you heard of me through Mike's podcast. I would love to let Mike know, and greatly appreciate it. So, and actually, one of the things that you can have in the chatbot is, how did you hear about so and so? But that's where you can find me, and hopefully this will be something you're considering in your business. But thanks so much for the opportunity, Mike.
Welcome. And the bottom line here, this is a valuable service, and I'm not going to talk about things which, like I said, that I know are wasting other people's time. And this is something important. This is something I think this is another valuable option that everybody needs to have, like sort of on their website or somehow integrate into their workflow, because it makes a bunch of people, I think they're more comfortable with that approach. It saves time for you. It's a little bit more work up front, like I said, but once it's in place and that little bit of understanding is there, it runs itself and things are just smoother. It's worked for me personally. I wasn't using it with Henry's system, but I wouldn't do that. It's a lot of work, but I did. But it worked for me, and I had proven results with this, and I was a little bit surprised how many entries I got in my contest. So I can speak personally that this works, and putting an actual effort into this, like what you do, I can only imagine the results that somebody can get sort of long term from integrating this into their system. Boy, we talked about a lot.
Yeah, I was going to mention, but like I'm not going to say anymore. But yes,
no, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was like, hey, speaking of your contest, Mike, you have them as subscribers in your system,
Manychat. Yeah,
there are some strict rules. Facebook rolled them a couple months ago, but maybe this holiday or whenever you want, there are ways for you to re-engage with those. They could be repeat customers, or maybe they were interested last year, or maybe they didn't win the contest. So that's where all that hard work you put in the beginning, you're going to be able to reap that reward for years to come for sure. So that's
and you're going to feel bad at me because I never went back in.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
Those people are so okay. I don't have a lot of time. I'm very busy. No, but no, you're right. I do have those contacts in there, and I should, if I was smart, go back in, and those are people I should be able to stay in touch with and market to through that system. So that's why we need you.
We'll chat a little bit offline or so.
I know. Can we be friends now?
Oh, I'd be thrilled, and the start of a beautiful relationship, as they say.
Oh my goodness! I see good things coming from this in the future. So once again, thanks, Henry Chen. There's a lot of great information that we went over today. A little bit detailed, but people need to know about this. And anybody has any questions in this, they'll be able to reach out to you. We'll put all your contact information down below on the show, or you can reach me through my podcast. I can forward you over to him as well. And good luck with this. I think you're on to something here.
Thanks again so much, Mike. Have a great day.
Thanks for coming on today.